There it is, in between the static. It's a faint at first, buried deep in the hiss, but after you hear it, after you know it's there, it becomes so loud that you want to cover your ears and scream. I could sound out the words for you, but that's it. But we never got the romanization down. It sounds like I folk ko I preg ad to dis vagotet. There are images in the snow, ones beyond bisected face and blank eyes that see in dimensions of our scientists can only dream about. In the static, I've seen across the universe, spindly stick figures with noticeable head, arms that bow out, reach almost to their pointed feet. Diamond storms rip off the ugly skin of dog fangs, scavenging in a pure white desert. I've seen former colleagues from the mountain. I wonder if they're even taken or given. Mullen eggers lot dying in the slow asphyxiated breaths as the barely air of some blank purple alien planet. Lots of experiments. June, Beldois, Schwartz, Canowal, Ronnie, others vivisection, of course. Hours of it. No anesthetic. But they don't die or pass out. Dying is faster. Dying is for the bioweapon testing using diseases we shouldn't have had to worry about encountering for centuries. Gandalau has been ripped apart by mold. Just a few airborne spores in days it was growing everywhere. Skin bulged, eyes bulged, couldn't close its mouth because it grew on the tongue. Then he just burst, blossomed into a bloody hill of deeply grooved fungi. Gases, artificial gravity, aspiration tests, brain surgeries, amputations, organ transplants with the strange creatures as donors, Unit 730, the one stuff, hours of experiments in static, hours and minutes. They have this way of folding information, like a note folded into a tight square, but you could still read every inch of it. They bring the static to them. Radio and television. They don't have to. They do it on purpose. It's stimulus. I hear the hiss and start to cry in the very beginning. I used to lock down the house. I brought it every kind of lock and bolt and chain I could. Put them on the windows and door. A few times I boarded up everything. Used my furniture as a barricade for every entry point. It's useless. Their fingers, they get through, they flatten and stretched up slip through the cracks. Long thin worms that are wrapped around whatever is keeping them out. Sometimes they make me watch. Sometimes my cabin is filled with burning light. When it fades, I've lost time of where they live, and where they are watching me. Eventually I stopped. No more locks, no more barricades. I just sit there and wait. But not tonight. Tonight I'm making them work for it. When a static screams and the voice comes on, I don't think just run to the door and slip outside. Finally wiping the tears from my eyes, I look up. Jesus, there's so many of them. They don't look like they would fly. It's all weird angles that counterintuitive design. In space it doesn't matter. I guess here, though, they should be falling out of the sky. Back at the mountain, we could use the internal tech, but the design was so radical. People would get suspicious. Things that would change. Completely silent, they just hover, just barely visible against the golem. I headed for the woods. They have been there for a long time. We've gotten some things from them. Technology mostly, obviously, but it's like beats of Manhattan. We always knew. We always knew that we weren't in the driver's seat. Always knew how it would end. You would have seen the things they do, even if you don't realize it. They can level buildings just like they're made of balsa wood. They slip in between, I don't know what to call it, dimensions, realities. They go and rip the tiniest piece apart on our side of the whole thing comes down. They can do it whole cities. August 9th, 1945. That wasn't a bomb. That was a simple mimicry. The last night of dusk was almost gone. I didn't bring a flashlight. I thought I would draw too much attention to me. Now I'm just barely trotting, groping in front of me with one hand and keeping the other on the nearest tree trunk. This was stupid. They're going to catch me. I'm just drawing it out. They found me here after I left the mountains. In the side of the country, in the middle of nowhere. It was a message. I'm not going to tell anybody. Didn't matter. I looked back and watched the edge of the forest. My heart beat so loud they could probably find me just following the stumps. A tall pillar of bug zapper, blue light flicks, were on my cabin, that is. It moves so slowly, it takes me a while to even realize it's gotten closer. I turn and run, crashing and flailing, kicking leaves and snapping branches. There's nowhere to go. My foot drops in a hole. Crazed, rabid panic fills me as I wrenched my leg around to see what kind of trap from beyond the stairs I'm caught in. It's just a goddamn hole made by some dumb animal. Pain shoots up my calves. I gingerly take my twisted ankle out of the hole and limp it forward. Time to give up. What a stupid idea. I could gimp my way into the darkness. Maybe try to cover myself with leaves. But that's just entertainment for them. A funny note in their catalog of human behavior. I ease myself down against a tree and just watch the light. When the light hits them, the tree trunks bend out towards like if they're elastic. They're bigger than what we see. They exist in every direction. Closer, I can almost make out the figure inside of the light. I think I am crying, but my senses are unraveling in its presence. It's the only thing I'm really aware of. Closer, I can see the outline of the thick V-shaped head that juts just about a half a foot of that fat tumor-like bubbles. At the appendix of each of its length is fleshed over our eyes, wide and tense with long brows, holding small lakes of thin membrane. There is an eye similar to ours underneath the skin. I know I've done autopsies. They just don't need it anymore. It's talking to me. Cooing, singing song, layered words picked up with the package of image and smell and sound. Destruction, charred flesh, crying babies. The static was deafening. Holocaust fast and slow. Some die in flames, in quakes of reality, in molecular diseases, while others dies in camps, farms, zoos, and labs. There were holes in the sky. Out of them come exterminating angels, servants from distant and inconceivable Lord. Nobody does anything. Nobody tries to stop them. It's above me. I think I hear my sobs over the words. It raises its 6-fingered hand, and the digits sliver forward. 2 of them vaguely warm with life, guided up to my face, my cheeks. They flatten and slowly go over to my eyelid, under the ball and back, coiling around the optic nerve. 2 more up with each nostril, the fingers dividable, and sending tubercles into the sinuses and down my lungs. There are automatized passing through the membrane and cell walls to get to my nervous system and brain. I'm being absorbed, translated to something intangible that they could just send through the air to the ships above. They don't have to do this. There are other ways. I wake up on the floor of the white room. I hoped it wouldn't be this. Prayed it wasn't always. But for the past few months it mostly has. There was Ronnie Stoutler, cradled up in her chair from a kind of rubbery statine. She was one of the few women at the mountain. Not pretty, but not pretty enough. And funny, if we hadn't gone together, I would have been a lucky man. They've already put the suit on me. A second-like skin keeps all the dander and oils in. You wouldn't know what I was wearing unless I touched you, and you felt the thin plastic dermis. I get up and but the suit tightens and loosens to where I need to move. I've gotten used to her, as I could be expected to. Visions of her still float up in my brain. I have to push them out any way I can. But when I'm with her, I can deal with it. I gently touch her arm. There is muffling, snorting, and suckling sounds from inside her. The upper row of her teeth that used to be in the back of her head jostles a bit, and the tongue hangs down under the lower seat. and Set squirms out at the base of her skull. She tries to turn her useless and hidden eyes to me. It's just me, Ronnie. She raises an eye and shakes a hand as I softly take it. It hurts her. I think even this limp touch. I want them to take me back soon, but I want them to let me stay here with them forever. I watch her blood flow. It was perfect, not a drip or seep, as it ran along the outside of her veins into her heart, thick red with muscle, nestled between her lungs, rocking softly with each pump. My eyes trace the veins and arteries that make her exposed body into a road map. The quiet biological noise of her organs and strangled breathing are the only sounds in the white cell. I don't understand how she breathes. I sat on the floor near her leg with the greatest care as I rest my cheek against the pale tissue and muscle of her thigh. In a shuddering shift, my eyes finally focused on the light yellow spear piled on her belly in the sea of liquid amani. Against the bruised purple backdrop of placenta, my eyes lock on the button black of her fetal daughter. Does Ronnie even know? They turned her inside out right after fertilization. She must have figured out why they were forcing us to be together. It would be easy just to reach in, break the water, and take the tiny unformed body in my hands, throw her against the wall. There, of course, grind her body beneath the heel, rip her in two. Just as easy. I could grab Ronnie's heart and mangled it to uselessness. Even easier when I get back home. Then I cut my throat or blow a hole through my brain or hang myself in from the tallest tree. But that I don't. I love Ronnie, even though at first she cried, struggled, and then looked at me with such a hate. After a while she softened, or maybe the whole ordeal just burned all out to take care of her. And I love our daughter. I still love her even though she's a wide furrowing running through the center of her head, and it's getting deep and narrow. I don't know how long they'll let me stay, but it's not long enough. I wake up in my cabin, disgusted and afraid. It all feels different down here. Down here, the worst is still coming. Coming in such a definite track that it might as well have already happened. More than my tortured colleagues. That's how they show me in static. When I look hard between the shifting black and white points, past the V-shaped face, past the experiments, I see Earth. I see the television on the radio, blaring static like an air raid siren, a billion of fathers cursing and flicking through the channel after channel of snow. The only warning they got, and it will come soon.